It's been just over 36 hours since I got back from the Earth with the resources I mined, and I've been busy at work ever since. I did get a few hours rest earlier, but I really need to get these point defense turrets up and running as soon as I can, as those old-fashioned 25mm Gatling turrets just aren't going to cut it once we come under attack, and that may happen a lot sooner than I was expecting. That's right, there's been several big developments in the last 24 hours, as I woke up this morning to discover a coded message, not from General Maddox, but from a General Hayes of the Terran Space Force, no less. Yep, it turns out that the TCA leadership from all the other colonies finally managed to get their act together and form a new government called the Terran Confederation, along with its own Space Force too. And whilst this hasn't entirely been unexpected, I am surprised at how quickly they've managed to do this. But that's not the only news I received. Apparently, the first wave of some new Terran combat spacecraft have not only been completed and launched from the underground facility on Hades, but one of the new star cruisers actually engaged an enemy heavy cruiser in the asteroid belt over there and soundly defeated it, and it only received light damage in return. It goes without saying that this is most welcome news indeed, and it'll definitely give our forces a much desperately needed morale boost. Anyway, time is of the essence now, as General Hayes has informed me that due to these recent developments, the Martians will most likely be doing everything in their power to get a relief force ready to be sent out to the 82G Eridani system as soon as possible. As a result of this, General Hayes has ordered me to bring my own timetable forward, and as it stands now, I only have 24 hours in which to get Moonbase 1 fully operational and declare it for the Terran Confederation. So yeah, it looks like I'm going to be really busy today. Well, at least I'm not doing this alone. I've already got repair bots 1 and 2 building a second missile silo, and from what I saw back there, it looks like they're doing a good job so far. What I am worried about though is that we are running short on magnesium again, so right now we don't have enough to build any more missiles. But thankfully I did take the Sagittarius out earlier today and used the seismic surveyor and actually detected some magnesium ore about 8 kilometers to the lunar northeast, just inside what looks like a large crater of some sort. I've not had a chance to take a closer look at it yet, but I have gotten Benson to add it as a waypoint for the mining drone, so once it's finished its current task, it'll head over there and start mining the magnesium for us, as I'm pretty sure we've got more than enough iron, for the time being at least. There we go. I made the mistake of updating my suit's wrist computer and the mainframe of Moonbase 1 to the most recent version of the KSH operating system, and now, sadly, the program that allowed the projectors to use subgrids has stopped working. But that's okay, as I can still pretty much do this part myself. It just takes a little bit longer, that's all. What I need to do now is lock the current small grid hinge in place, then add a few more blocks and a smaller projector onto it. And before I forget, I'd better rename it whilst I'm here. There we go. Hold on. I'll need to rotate it slightly so that I can work on it a little easier, as right now it's facing the wrong way. That's better. Now I just need to grind these down and add the small conveyors. Well now, I must have replaced them with something else on the toolbar. Not a problem though. I'll just add them again. I need more interior plates. That's okay. In fact, I'd better grab a whole load of spare components whilst I'm at this connector, as I'm definitely going to need them. Good. Now I just need to place down the projector itself. Making sure that it's orientated the correct way, of course, otherwise this could get messy. Yep, I don't want the projection for my 6-barreled Firestorm PDC turret to be facing sideways. I already did that with a previous one, and it took me about 10 minutes to get the damn thing aligned correctly. So yeah, it's not an experience I would like to repeat. Anyway, let's get some more of these armoured blocks added, and then I'll switch it on. Ah, metal grids, of course. These are heavy armoured blocks. You do kind of need those for small grids. If you use light armour blocks, they may as well just be made of cardboard when they come under fire. Benson, did you manage to install the Diamond Dome defense script onto Moonbase 1's computer network okay?
Yes, Captain. The Diamond Dome defense script has been successfully installed and is awaiting activation.
Thanks, Ben. I knew that I'd added it onto your list of things to do before I took some rest earlier, so I was just making sure.
Affirmative, Captain.
There, that's the projector switched on. Now let's just make sure that it's aligned correctly. Yep, that looks fine. Well, I guess it's about time I started building the rest of the damn thing. I can take my well-earned coffee break afterwards. Right, that's the final gun barrel done. Time to get rid of the projector, add the missing armour block, and then this turret will be complete. Perfect. All that remains is to cover that advanced rotor with some light armour blocks, and that should be it.
Captain, repair bots 1 and 2 have reported that they have completed their current task and are now awaiting further instructions.
Copy that, Ben. That's actually really good timing, as I'm just finishing off here too, so it means I can quickly pop over to see how they've done before I head back inside. Excellent. Once those Firestorm CWIS turrets are linked up to the Diamond Dome defense script, we'll be much better protected against both enemy missiles and drones. Okay, let's see how the bots have done.
Supreme Leader Captain Robertson.
Good morning, Repair Bot. Now, let's take a look, shall we? Yeah, everything looks fine. That's excellent. Repair Bots 1 and 2, please return to the plant room to recharge and await further instructions.
By your command.
Yeah, from the looks of things, the other Repair Bot is already inside. Well, I'll be joining him shortly because I think it's time for a break. I was just enjoying my coffee when I noticed that the Martian News Network has posted a story regarding the loss of their heavy cruiser. I'll just bring it up on my PDA now, as it'll be interesting to see things from our enemy's perspective. Here we are. The tragedy of the Trebonius, an irreplaceable loss for our allies. In the asteroid belt around 82G Eridani, a short heavy fight took place between forces belonging to our R.O.S. allies and the Terran renegades, in the course of which the R.O.S. heavy cruiser Trebonius that was being leased to them by our very own Martian Navy came under vicious attack by one of the new Terran star cruisers, resulting in extreme damage which forced the Trebonius to surrender. Reports indicate that none of the senior officers survived the encounter, which suggests that the renegades brutally murdered them shortly after surrender rather than take them prisoner. Well, that's interesting. The report I received says their officers died when their bridge took a direct hit from a railgun. Anyway, Admiral Moss of the Martian Navy says that this defeat proves that our enemy ships make use of alien technology to give them an advantage, and has advised that in future they should only be engaged if we have at least a 2-to-1 advantage over them, even suggesting that the renegade crewmen are twisted cyborgs merged into their very own ships. Well, I have to admit they certainly have done a number on us with the propaganda and bullshit, but yeah, cyborgs and alien technology. I mean, seriously, we're just as human as they are. The only difference is that we're obviously better trained and smarter. But this is just an attempt to demonize us and...
Warning, Captain Robertson. Type 2 Mining Drone 1 has detected multiple unknown objects approximately 1 kilometer away from its designated waypoint.
Copy that, Benson. I'm on my way down to operations right now. Are you able to tell me what they are?
Negative, Captain. The objects are too far away to be positively identified using the camera, but have been detected via the faint infrared signatures that they are emitting.
Understood, Ben. I don't want to take any unnecessary risks with that thing, so order that mining drone back to base immediately.
Affirmative, Captain. I have ordered Type 2 Mining Drone 1 to return to base.
Thanks, Ben. Okay, let's see what we've got. That just looks like a mess of code. And there's nothing else on any of the other displays. From what little I can make of it, those IR signatures just look like the heat caused by sunlight being reflected from what appears to be 2 or 3 relatively small-sized objects. I mean, it could just be debris, or maybe even some leftover mining equipment, especially given how close it is to the ore deposit, but they could potentially be powered down surveillance drones. Unfortunately, there's no way of telling until I get a closer look. What I'll do is leave the Sagittarius here and proceed using my jetpack. That way, if there is anything sinister out there, I'll be a lot harder to detect. Or at least that's the plan. Right, time for me to head on out. I've added a quick waypoint onto my suit's wrist computer, but I won't be heading straight for it. Instead, I'll try to land about 1 click away, find some cover, and use my binoculars to take a better look before I get any closer. In fact, Ben, I did check earlier, but I may have overlooked something. Is there anything you can find in the records that relate to these objects that have been spotted?
Negative, Captain. Be advised that many of the files regarding the history of the moon and any exploration prior to the destruction of the Earth have been lost, and many of the logs in Moonbase 1 appear to have been overwritten.
Copy that, Ben. Yeah, I had noticed that A1 in his infinite wisdom had deleted or recorded over a lot of the old logs with, well, how should I put it, rather unusual and somewhat disturbing material, which is a shame really, as some of those old logs may have been really useful to us. But hey, it is what it is. Anyway, I'm getting close to the waypoint now, so I'll just make my way towards that hill up ahead and use it as cover. There we go. I'm not seeing anything particularly threatening yet, but I am still quite far away. What I will do, though, is get rid of this waypoint, just to clear things up a little. Okay, let's get a better look at what's down there. There they are. Yeah, they don't look like drones. Or debris. In fact, it looks more like... Oh, hang on a second. You've got to be kidding me. I know exactly what that is. Which means I probably won't need these weapons, or at least I hope not. I mean, if this is indeed what it looks like, then I should be perfectly safe. Yeah, famous last words, Captain. Best keep your wits about you just in case. And there's the magnesium ore just down there. Ah, there we are. I may as well just bound the rest of the way to save on hydrogen, as trying to run in this low gravity is a little more awkward. Haha, yes! I knew it! It's one of the Apollo moon landing sites. That's the old flag of the former USA, the base of a lunar module, and even a moon buggy, which means that this must be either Apollo 15, 16, or 17. Haha, excellent! And best of all, everything still looks like it's in good condition. I mean, given how exposed we are out here, I'm just grateful it's not either been blown up or taken apart for salvage. Even this moon buggy, sorry, I mean lunar roving vehicle, looks almost brand new. I wonder. I expected as much. Yeah, I'm guessing those batteries went flatty very long time ago. Oh well. Even so, this is an incredible find, and I know that our crew on board the Icarus were the first to reach another star system alive. But this is back where it all started. That's right, back during the very first space race when human beings took to the stars, the moon was just the beginning. One small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. You know, I'm actually a little annoyed that there's no
Captain,
official...
if I may.
Sorry, go ahead, Benson.
Captain, be advised that we have just received a priority-coded message at Moonbase 1.
A priority message? Okay, put it through to me, please, Benson.
Moonbase 1, this is Major Whitby, Terran Intelligence, Authentication, Charlie Zulu 17. We received word from one of our agents working undercover within R.O.S. that someone has tipped them off about suspicious activity and that a CDF beacon was spotted on Moonbase 1.
Oh, shit.
They're sending a task force to investigate, and reports are that they'll be leaving momentarily. Be careful, Captain. It sounds like you're about to get company. Major Whitby, out.
Well, that's just fan-bloody-tastic. How the hell did they know I was here? When that Nestorius flew over, I made sure that everything was shut down. Damn it. And what did he mean about a CDF beacon? Now I know that I didn't leave that on, at least not on Moonbase 1. There is the Sagittarius, of course, but its beacon is set at a range of 5 kilometers, so even if I had left that one on, there's no way the R.O.S. vessel could have picked that up. And that mining drone over there wasn't even built yet. Oh, hang on a second. Was that drone sitting there with its beacon on when that Mendez fellow from Interstellar Minerals came down? Surely not. Anyway, I'll check that later. Right now I'd better switch it off. There, at least that's dealt with. The problem is I'll have to move the Sagittarius now. I can't leave it here when those R.O.S. vessels arrive, otherwise if things heat up and it becomes a shooting match, it risks being blown to smithereens. The best thing for me to do is to land the Sagittarius in that crater I saw over to the lunar northeast. Once it's there, I'll power it down completely. It won't make it invisible, but it should make it a lot harder to detect. Yep, that should be fine. All I need to do now is slowly and gently bring it back down again. Hopefully the ground here is flat enough so that it doesn't rest at too steep an angle, but I guess there's only one way to find out. Unfortunately, the Sagittarius isn't a dedicated combat vessel, and if I tried to fight an R.O.S. warship with this thing, let's just say that it probably wouldn't end well for me. So, yeah, keeping it well out of the action is probably the best thing for it, to be honest. Ah, that's perfect. It is at a slight angle, but it's not too bad. Right, I'll switch the batteries off whilst I'm here, but I'll turn the reactors off when I'm outside. At least that way I can still use the airlock. There we go. It'll still take a few hours for it to cool down to a decent enough level, but at least it won't stand out as much now. What I am worried about is Moonbase 1 itself. We've only got 4 out of the 8 missiles available, those new PDCs haven't really been tested yet, and I still need to do some final work on that reactor just to make sure that when I bring it online, it doesn't melt down spectacularly. Well, I've definitely got my work cut out for me now, that's for sure. I mean, time really is of the essence now, as I've probably only got a few hours before those R.O.S spacecraft arrive, and hell knows what'll happen then. But hey, at least I can make sure they receive a warm welcome when they do. Thankfully, the damage to the reactor's heat radiators isn't too bad. I've only needed to replace a couple of them, the others I've managed to more or less repair. This shouldn't take too long, but once I'm finished, I'll go down into the reactor room and see if I can get it working again, as we'll certainly need the extra power once we bring our defences online. Excellent, that should do us. In all likelihood, it would have probably cooled the reactor enough without being fully repaired, but it is better to be safe than sorry, especially when you're dealing with an old-style fission reactor, as you really don't want those to overheat. Speaking of costly mistakes, I took a quick look over the video footage I took when I returned from Earth, and it does very much appear as though I'd left the mining drone's antenna switched on when Mendez arrived. So there's a very good chance that he is the one that betrayed me to R.O.S. Yeah, I'm still quite annoyed by that, as that really was a careless oversight on my behalf. It's not Benson's fault, as he is only programmed to follow my orders and not think for himself. If I'd been more careful, I would have given him instructions to deactivate any beacons or antennas if any other vessels appeared. But hey, what's done is done, and there's no point dwelling on it now. Anyway, I need to put some uranium rods into this reactor first, then I'll go upstairs and switch it on. The refinery should have finished processing most of the uranium I mined on Earth by now. I just need to find it first. Ah, there it is. I'll just move it across, and we should be ready to go. Perfect. In fact, I'll switch it on now, then head upstairs to the control room. There we go. That'll give it a few more seconds to heat up before I check the readings. Yep, no flashing lights or warning sirens. That's always a good sign. Okay, let's see what we have. Oh yeah, everything looks fine. In fact, this reactor is able to generate more than enough power for us. Nice one. I've lowered the control rods and essentially switched it off for now, as this was just a test, and I want those radiators to stay fairly cool for the moment, as I don't want to give the game away any more than I already have. Hang on a second. Now that I think about it, maybe I could use a little military deception in order to take advantage of my current situation. For example, R.O.S were apparently informed that a CDF beacon was spotted here. But how can they be sure? I mean, it is second-hand information after all, especially if it came from that dodgy bastard Mendez. He could have been wrong. It might have been an ODF or even CPF beacon he saw. After all, it is easy to get letters mixed up if you're in a rush or stressed out, I suppose. You know what? Let's do it. I'll change the drone's antenna and Moonbase 1's beacon to read CPF. I'm pretty sure no one else uses that acronym for their company, but if they do, I can easily change it later on. I'll change the ownership of the antenna and the beacon to nobody. That way it will remove the CDF prefix, but that should be okay because, as far as I'm aware, all neutral contacts appear as white text anyway. Yeah, that looks convincing enough. I'll think up the full company name for CPF later. Right now I'd better change the Moonbase as Beacon 2, just to keep things consistent. Now, I am very much aware that any in-depth investigation on behalf of R.O.S. will result in this whole thing being revealed as a farce, but that's fine, as the objective of this form of psychological warfare is just to temporarily sow enough doubt and confusion in the minds of my enemies that they don't immediately try to obliterate us from orbit the moment they arrive. Yep, that looks good. I just hope that it works. Alright, that's been just over an hour now, and there's still no sign of any R.O.S. spacecraft yet, but I'd better shut down all these lights just in case. I'm still a little concerned about our lack of magnesium ore, but I really can't afford to send a mining drone out at the moment. Which reminds me, since it's still here, I may as well rename it to Maintenance Drone. And just hope that nobody that arrives gets close enough to realise that those are drills instead of welders. Yep, that looks okay. I'll need to turn the refinery off. The idea is to make this place look abandoned, but still more or less well preserved. If we do have to get into a fight this early on, I'd rather that we had the element of surprise.
Caution, Captain. I have just detected multiple jump signatures in orbit above the moon.
Copy that, Ben. I've just spotted them on the short-range sensors. I just need to double-check I've shut down anything that could give the game away. Yeah, I think that's everything. Okay, let's take a look at our uninvited guests, shall we? Shit, they've sent more than I thought they would. There's 2 Nestorius Mark IIs at the front of the task force, the Sasava and... our old friend the Kutna, the very same ship that attacked us on Europa. Interesting. The other formation has a drone carrier named the Keblov and a Type 2 gunship called Podol. I'm not too worried about that gunship as it only has short-ranged weaponry, but that drone carrier could be a real pain in the behind for us, as they usually carry between 2 to 4 attack drones. But those Nestorius though, it's not just the railguns I'm worried about. The last time we saw the Kutna, it had guided missiles, which means that I'd better double check to make sure that our Gatling turrets and Diamond Dome defense scripts are ready to come alive at a moment's notice. Yeah, if any guided missiles manage to get through, it could very well spell disaster for us. Saying that, I'm not seeing any shuttles docked under them, which means they may have swapped them out again. That does make sense, as they have a drone carrier with them this time.
Moonbase 1, this is R.O.S. vessel Kutna. Please respond.
They're trying to communicate with us. Good. This is exactly as I hoped.
I say again, this is the Kutna to Moonbase 1. Come in, over.
Okay, Ben, it looks like you're up. Remember? Exactly as we rehearsed.
Yes, Captain. On behalf of the Civil Preservation Foundation, where we preserve the past to benefit your future, we welcome you to this historic site. You are talking to the automated interaction system. Please make your request.
What? Sir, it is a robot. What you want me to do, it's say Civil Preservation Foundation and give me list.
Check that out. It says CPF. Your management's led us on a wild goose chase. Bleeding idiots.
Nice one.
No. Information was good. It come from reliable source.
Whatever, mate. If there's even a slim chance that bloke we've been chasing since Europa is down there, then we'd better check it out.
Yeah,
Tell it we want to land.
bastards. I knew it was them.
Moonbase 1, this is Kutna. We're requesting landing clearance. Over.
Negative. Request denied. This historic site is undergoing critical maintenance. Authorization is permitted to CPF personnel or TCA inspectors only. We apologize for any inconvenience.
Stupid robot. We are R.O.S. We have authority from Martian Federation. You let us land, now.
Negative. The R.O.S. Corporation is not in my database. Be advised that any attempted and unauthorized landing would be considered an unlawful act. Defensive measures will be taken and the authorities will be notified.
Screw it, mate. Get the shuttles ready. We're going down.
Stupid machine. We are done. Kutna, out.
Damn it. Oh well, it was worth a try. At the very least, I think we've managed to convince them to lower their guard somewhat, so hopefully that will work in our favour. Even so, I'd rather not have a squad of R.O.S security personnel down here, but that's okay, as I have absolutely no intention of letting them land. Saying that, I am seeing movement up there already. That's not their shuttle, is it? It is. It's an Olympus 200. Good grief, that was quick. Correction, make that 2 shuttles. And some combat drones have just launched from that carrier. Probably escorts. And to make things worse, it looks like the gunship is on its way too. Wonderful. Yeah, things are about to get a little busy down here. You know, I have a feeling they were probably readying the shuttles and prepping for takeoff long before they even spoke to Benson. In fact, that second voice we heard on comms is most likely a Martian officer, which would explain their unusual efficiency. But saying that, they've sent their shuttles down first instead of their gunship and combat drones, and that careless mistake is about to cost them dearly. Powering up the reactor. Wait for it. And... now, all weapons, open fire! Yes, that's one down. Ah shit, the other shuttle's trying to get away. Whoa, or not. That was impressive. Ah, that's just a combat drone. I need to find the gunship. There it is. Just need to get a lock. Missile away. Impact. That was a good hit. I was getting worried for a second he was about to shoot it down. Yeah, they're done for. Half their ship is missing. I am worried my turrets are focusing a little too much on it though. How are we looking with regards to those combat drones? Yeah, that one's been shot down. But I can't seem to find the other one, so it's probably destroyed. Anyway, I'd better cease fire to conserve ammunition. Good grief, there's hardly anything left of that gunship now. Oh, and now it's gone. Right, I better quickly check on the damage we've taken. I did notice those drones opening up on us and rockets coming from that gunship, so... Actually, I'm not seeing any damaged blocks on this, and destroyed ones wouldn't come up anyway. But I can check on that later, as right now I need to deal with those larger spacecraft above us. That's right, you bastards. You had your shot, now it's my turn. Missile away. They're slowly starting to move away now, but they may have left it a little too late. Which is just as well, as this fire control system can only track one target at a time. Impact. That was a direct hit on the Kutna-Hora. Now for the Satsava. Ah, it looks like they're trying to make a run for it. Good hit. And now for that drone carrier, the Keblov. Missile away. My camera keeps zooming out when those last 2 missiles hit. I don't know whether that's a glitch or some kind of feature to protect my eyes. I'll have to make a point of looking into that later on. Another direct hit. Nice one. Interesting, it didn't zoom out that time. It must have been a glitch then. Regardless, those last 2 missiles didn't destroy those ships, but it does look like they're retreating. Well, they probably don't realise I'm out of missiles, otherwise they'd have most likely continued to attack. But saying that, the Kutna-Hora does appear to be getting closer, and looks as though it could be in trouble. Oh yeah, it's falling fast. Whoa! That's gotta hurt. I'm just glad it wasn't directly above us. That could have been serious. Yeah, the other R.O.S spacecraft are definitely running away. The only reason why they've not used their jump drives already is because they can't. as they'll need to leave the moon's orbit first. Well, this has been a severe blow to R.O.S, but we also have to remember that we did have the element of surprise on our side. The next time they come back, we could have a real fight on our hands. And the damage could be a lot worse. Speaking of which, now that we're not in any immediate danger, Benson, can you give me a quick damage report, please?
Yes, Captain. Gatling turret number 5 has suffered light damage and is currently operating at 73% efficiency, and one of the sealing armor blocks on the rover garage has taken moderate damage, resulting in the interior no longer being airtight. All other damage appears to be superficial and relates to the light armor blocks that make up the exterior of Moonbase 1.
Yep, so in other words, we were exceptionally lucky this time around. Thanks, Ben. I'll just head outside now, as I need to quickly check the wreckage for anything that could be useful to us, as well as to see if there's any survivors. I did have the turrets set to engage both enemy spacecraft and personnel, so I'm honestly not expecting to find anyone alive out there, but if I do, then I'm hoping that they'll be smart enough to lay down their weapons and surrender, rather than try and shoot back. There's the Kutna-Hora. I'll circle around counterclockwise and check on that last, as it's furthest away. Bloody hell, there's not much left of that first shuttle, is there? Nah, all these people are dead. If anyone did survive the explosion, chances are they were gunned down by the turrets shortly afterwards. And the horrible thing is, the remains of all the others will most likely be scattered all over the place, especially from that second shuttle, as it was trying to fly back up when it exploded. Yeah, it is a gruesome fate, and a lot of people died here today. But sadly, it had to be done. R.O.S. and Mars started this war, and unfortunately in this instance it was either them or me, and I can't let anything jeopardize our mission. Otherwise, more lives could end up being lost, especially on our side. Ah, here's what's left of one of the combat drones. I'll come back later and grind it down, as it's not a priority right now. They tend not to have much in the way of components anyway. The other drone is further to the right, and there's even less of that one remaining. Anyway, time to check out the Kutna-Hora. Or rather, what's left of it. Oh, the entire underside is gone. Most of that may have been the result of the crash, but that missile hit looked as though it may have caused a magazine explosion or blown up one of the hydrogen tanks. Either way, it essentially crippled the vessel, and when you're hovering in low orbit, that's never a good thing, as some of my old adversaries found out, the hard way. The downside of this, however, is that there is a lot less to salvage, but hey, that's just the way it goes. Regardless of that fact, I'm just glad I was able to take down not just any R.O.S. Nestorius, but the Kutna-Hora. This is the very same vessel that destroyed the Sol Cooperative surface station on Europa, killing a lot of the innocent people that I befriended whilst I was there. So in some small way I feel that justice has been done, even if the ones that gave the order are still out there somewhere. Anyway, these cryopods are all empty, no sign of any survivors here either. I'll quickly check the bridge next, then I'll think about heading back. Yeah, both of these guys are dead. There probably wouldn't have been many crew members left inside this ship anyway. The majority of them would have been on those shuttles, including that Martian officer, as I've not found his body. At least, not yet. Well, this has certainly been a decisive victory for us, but it's only a matter of time before R.O.S. returns with a larger task force, and then the real fight begins. Until then, however, I'd better resume mining operations and get the repair bots to grind down the Kutna-Hora, As for me, I think it's about time I recorded and sent an official message to the Martian Federation. And you know what? I don't think they're going to like it. Therefore, as commander of Moonbase 1 and the current commanding officer of the Lunar CDF forces, we declare Moonbase 1 and the entire lunar surface on behalf of the Terran Confederation and TCA administrative body.
The impudence! That's the third colony today. This is unacceptable! Open a secure channel to Bostock, now!
Madam President, there is only one reason the esteemed leader of the Martian Federation would risk calling me directly. Would I be correct in assuming that you have a job for me?
R.O.S. have let us down for the last time. Thanks to their incompetence, we now have an enemy outpost right on our doorstep. I need you and your marauders to get to Moonbase 1 as soon as possible and deal with this Captain Robertson and bring him here, dead or alive.
Yes, I've heard of him. Very well, you may consider it done.